And Shannon, obviously, you have also joined up with the Promoting Radiography Special Interest Group that we're starting with Society of Radiographers, which is amazing. And that's open to absolutely anyone. So anyone who is interested to promote either diagnostic or therapeutic radiography, then please do drop us a DM on Twitter or email me or stalk me, however you may feel is appropriate on any social media platform. It's absolutely fine. But it'd be great to have lots of people look at how they can promote radiography. And I think sometimes, from my own experiences, people kind of think, oh, I've got to visit a school or a college or do some big webinar online. And that for some people is really daunting. Shannon, what do you think people can do to get involved in kind of promoting their own profession? What would you say are the simple things that people can do?
I think, especially in the last couple of years, a lot of things have gone online anyway, so it's been more difficult to even get in face to face. And I still, I think that face to face has loads of positives. So you'd be able to, interact a lot with a lot of, students. But I think, having that sort of online platform now, sort of all schools, colleges, all these sort of big webinars and things, career events, all have that sort of online platform. So I think it's really important, even if you're sort of newly qualified or you're a student, the sort of newly qualified and student experiences are really, really important to people who are thinking about a career, because you're fresh into the profession. You've got, all these new skills and experiences that you've had, so you're very relatable to somebody, either very similar in age or very similar in life experiences. So I think, even just saying how you got into the profession, or what are the positives, or what would you do next time, and I think that's really important, and I wish somebody had said that to me. And like Joe said, if anybody is, interested in even just speaking, to one student, or wanting to look at somebody's personal statement, that goes an incredibly long way. So when I was at, newly qualified, me and Naaman both spoke to, like he said earlier, a few students who we actually, I think, converted to do therapeutic radiography. So we looked at their personal statements, we helped write them, and we gave them lots of top tips about interviews, and sort of, how they can best prepare for that. So, the small little things which some people may not think, oh, that's not really making a difference. It really is. So even if you change one person's perception on radiotherapy, or, help somebody with, preparing a question for an interview, that's incredible. So I think, all these things really mount up and really help with promoting our profession and all the other, amazing allied health professions too. So.
And it's not just the students, actually. I think, Joe, you'll agree. The teachers, they love it. Quite a few. I know Joe's converted a few.
Converted a lot of science teachers.
But it's, yeah, because obviously they don't always get to see all the different roles in the NHS, and it is that traditional view. Doctors and nurses, that's kind of all the NHS is about. But yeah, 14 different allied health professionals. And when we've spoken to teachers, Shannon, I know we had such good feedback. They were like, this is amazing, I can talk about this. Or some of the local curriculum for physics, they started to include radiotherapy as an example in that. And yeah, it's amazing. I think teachers love it, because then once they know, they might tell their children about it. They will then know about it more, and then it will continue and continue. And that's that impact kind of that you can follow through.
Definitely. And even if you're just changing one person's perception, that's huge. And like you said, we gave teachers a little bit of an incentive of getting, a CPD benefit from it, and that encouraged so many people. And we've got, at the department when Naaman and I were working together, we got so many teachers from all over the UK, all science-based, who actually had no idea what radiotherapy was. So it was a good opportunity for them to come educate themselves, and like, you both said, that taking that back and explaining it to other, students in the class, of their perception of it, and it was so beneficial for them to actually experience it face to face. So obviously this was pre-pandemic, but coming into the department and having a tour of the machines, and the different types of profession, and our profession is huge at the moment. So you have site specialists, you have advanced practice, you have consultant radiographers, so it's so varied. So having outside teachers, students coming in, having a look, it's so beneficial for them to see all of these things. And I know that's really difficult at the moment, so things like are just as good. So showing what it's actually like to work our day-to-day jobs. So
Yeah, so VERT is a virtual learning environment that demonstrates a linear accelerator. So for anyone who hasn't heard of that term before, and it's actually provided by a company called Virtual. So again, if you're on Twitter or any of the social media platforms, they kind of demo what it is that they do. But a lot of their HEIs actually utilise the virtual learning environment to help assist with the curriculum. And Shannon, you kind of picked up on it a little bit as well, but I think it is really important to kind of comment on the fact that there are so many diverse ways into the profession now. Like, it's amazing to see some of those apprenticeship adverts starting to appear on social media and through HEI adverts and things like that, and it's amazing to see that. And I think it is really important that people don't just focus on schools and colleges or even around universities. You know, if you work in a university that offers one of those courses, then you will actively try and promote that course anyway. It's part of really your workloading. But I think for just therapeutic radiographers or any HPs out there, it's about using our professional title. Because if your patients know that you are a therapeutic radiographer, or you're a diagnostic radiographer, or you're an occupational therapist, then they go back home and they have those conversations with their friends and family about, oh, this is the experience that I had today, and this was the impact of it, and I had a really nice healthcare professional who was. And I think that in itself really helps. I know when I've done kind of some audit work and evaluation through the uni, 40% of all the students in that particular year came on as a result of learning about the role of a therapeutic radiographer through friends or family who'd had treatment. And if you had more people who were saying, I'm a therapeutic radiographer, and talking about that experience and raising the profile of radiotherapy, I think it really does help from that perspective. And I know HEE and also I See the Difference, and Michelle Tyler in her role at the Society, are working hard to diversify some of those routes into practice, and also thinking about how we can diversify the workforce as well, which is really important. We know lots of people bring different behaviours, characteristics, knowledge, experience into the profession. I think that's really, really really important, and that experience does count. So from your kind of project, Shannon, and the work that you're doing, what do you think is going to be the impact that you hope or that you foresee as a result of the research that you're doing?
Well, I'm hoping for my research to, hopefully standardise radiotherapy outreach across the UK. I know this sounds like a huge task, but I feel that the drive behind, my current research team is great, and therefore I feel that we're in a really good position to sort of take this as far as we can. So like I said earlier, we're in the process of sending out a couple of questionnaires, so one to first year students across the UK, and then to sort of qualified professionals who help educate radiotherapy students. So look out for those. And I believe that everybody involved within the therapeutic radiography profession and community is really passionate about promoting what we do day to day. So I hope that they'll sort of get on board with this too. It is in our job description to sort of help educate students. So I think, it would be really beneficial to get as much data as we can to help, put in something that is really effective and something that which can help the future profession, because obviously we know that we're going to need more and more therapeutic radiographers. And by getting everybody on board and, helping with that would be really beneficial. And I think, looking at my experience so far, it has been very positive. It's fair to say that, there has been a few bumps along the way, but, I think it's sometimes really easy to get bogged down on the negatives, but it's normal to have these little hiccups. That's what research is basically all about. So I'm just so thankful for all the support I've had. And so, from both my research team, everybody along the way, like Joan Naiman, everybody from the Society and College of Radiographers, for, being able to have this opportunity. Each person has brought so many different unique skills and qualities, which makes it work so well. So I think, if I was to do it again or to speak to somebody else about it, I'd say, I've learned to be really patient through this, but, it's really important to trust your gut. It's usually right. And just to, make sure that you're finding a topic that really interests you. So, there's, even if, research can stem from anything, so some people have said to me previously that, your research won't make it, it's not clinical. But if my team and I weren't researching this, then we wouldn't then be able to attract more therapeutic radiographers to the profession to continue research. So it all links up. So I think that's really important. And anything, you've got a smaller idea about something will be able to stem from that, which you can take further. So yeah, ask questions really.
I think you made a really important point there as well, in the fact that, if we're going to have this as part of our role, so if I was a radiotherapy manager now in kind of the NHS crisis that we're in, as a result of the pandemic, more cancer patients coming through, increased diagnostic pathways, we know that we're going to need a bigger workforce. We weren't hitting target prior to the pandemic, and then obviously now. I think it is really important that from a manager's perspective, they recognise that the work that you're doing could potentially help increase the workforce, but also look at how they can utilise the workforce most efficiently. So rather than Shannon going on one talk, to do a school of 300 students, could you be doing it virtually, but then sharing that to, the whole of that county and getting some interest that way? And then that initial webinar might spark some interest to then offer specialised interest as a visit to a department, when obviously everyone's allowed to resume back to normal. But I think that would be really important as well, to think about how this research could essentially impact on what outreach really is effective, and utilise kind of staff resources as much as we possibly can do. And I know from the work that I do with outreach, it will be amazing for Shannon to be able to go, no, actually, Joe, you need to use your time more effectively and do X, Y, and Z, because anything that's going to save me time, I'd absolutely love. And also the impact for the prospective therapeutic radiography community. So, anything that we get out of the research, I think it will be important to then implement that, to hope that we do have students who start the course knowing what a therapeutic radiographer is, what they do, what the role consists of, because attrition is a real factor, and it is definitely something that we're seeing more of probably this year as a result of COVID and the pandemic, and students having to be online. So we know that some of those routes into the profession are hindered slightly because of attrition. So it's amazing. I can't wait for the results to come out. We've all said we all want to access all the results as soon as they come in, just because we're really excited to see. But it's such an exciting project, Shannon.
Definitely. And I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and if anybody listening has any ideas, or anything of how we can improve, or what they think would be beneficial in this project, please get in touch with us, because we're looking for innovative ideas of how we can improve, and how we can put something in place which is really effective for everybody, and easily accessible. So yeah, please let us know.
Best thing I always use in a talk is chocolates that we x-rayed. I'm not saying it was me that x-rayed them, but we had it. I've got it. It's just something simple like that. It's good fun, isn't it?
That always went down so well.
Especially when we brought chocolate with us too.
Did you then give the students chocolate afterwards?
Definitely.
We did. Bribery does help with talks. But Shannon, so we're coming towards the end now. I know you've touched on quite a few amazing tips, but we always like to end with, some top tips for patients, students, healthcare professionals that are listening. What would you say?
I think it's really important, but sometimes it's really difficult. But to be really brave, so put yourself out there, and really think about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Even though it may feel really daunting at the time, and it may feel like a really long journey, it will pay off. And as I found along the way, don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm still very much a novice at this, and research generally, but I have such a fantastic team supporting me with this project that that really does go a long way. And having that morale boost of, actually, this is going to be implemented soon, and have a really big impact on a variety of different people, so patients, staff, students, and also the future. So I think I've sort of learned not to give up, and it's normal to fail, and have little hurdles and bumps along the way, but not to sort of put you off. So what you're doing is really, really important, and just sort of, like I said, put yourself out there, and you'll see the results very soon.
Oh, thank you very much, Shannon, and thank you for everyone for listening. So your hosts today have been Naaman Jilka Anderson and Joe McNamara. A huge thank you again to our guest Shannon Johnson. Head over to our YouTube page to see a live recording of the podcast. And if you're utilising the podcast for CPD purposes, consider the reflective questions posted along with any links to resources and literature that we've discussed. To receive your accredited CPD certificate, please complete the Google form linked with the podcast. So our next guest to feature will be Yatman Sang, who will be discussing his career to date, advanced practice and equality, diversity and inclusion. So thank you to everyone. Take care.